The Spurs go 2-2 on their 4-game road trip. What do we like? What didn't we like?
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Happy Monday. Welcome back to Locked On Spurs, right in the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Ken5 San Antonio. Glad to have you all back. Hope you had a great, relaxing, long weekend with your family and your friends, and you all celebrated Thanksgiving. But we're back here at work. We're here on Locked On Spurs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network in the nation. Way to go, everybody. Hey, before we begin, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You want to go and get the FanDuel app right now because new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. So what are we talking about today? Spurs finished up their 4-game roadie. They went 2-2. What did they do overall? Yeah, 500. You know, there were some surprises. There were some letdowns. What did we like? What didn't we like? We're going to talk about that. Then if time permitting, we'll get into some Locked On Spurs fan comments. You guys are active, so we got to give you all time for the shine here on Locked On Spurs. That's going to bring in our guest, everybody. He is back, Mr. Rudy Campos of Box Score Studio. Follow him on X at Box Score Studio. And Rudy, way to go, man. Congratulations on the new endeavor.
Oh, thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it. You know, Sweep the League was a kind of ran its course. So me and the upper heads of Sweep the League got together and decided, hey, a rebrand is what we needed to do. So Box Score Studio opens up to what we want to do more of, and that's going to be more documentaries, more, shorts and content. So it's opened up a big O stage of a whole lot more to come.
Nice. We'll talk about that later on this episode of Locked On Spurs. But Rudy, let's dive into it. The Spurs finished their road trip 2-2. Had some highs, really big highs. They had some lows, some really bad lows. I figure we'll start this show on the right foot. We'll start off with what we liked, and I'll kick us off right here. And as I like that, Dylan Harper is coming to his own little by little, being super aggressive, as we saw the 4-game road trip here. Getting to the basket. I mean, he made Rudy Gobert look like a cone out there, a traffic cone a few times, and to the rim. The kid is coming along nicely. I believe he finished that game with double-figure scoring against Minnesota. But nevertheless, you're seeing him take shape little by little and becoming a big piece of this rebuild. I like what I saw out of the kid in the last 4 games. What did you think?
Yeah, Dylan Harper. I mean, Jeff, if you guys remember on Locked On, I told you that there's a good potential that the Spurs could have a 3-time and 3 in a row, basically Rookie of the Years with Dylan Harper. Now, let's be honest, we're probably going to give it to Cooper Flag just because Dallas needs some kind of hope in there. But nonetheless, if you look at it, he's going to be top 3, top 4 when it comes to Rookie of the Year voting. And that's what you're getting from Dylan Harper. You're getting a guy coming off the bench who's eventually going to be a starter for San Antonio. Maybe not this season, maybe next season. But you've got a guy coming off the bench giving you that Manu-esque type of performance.
Oh, yes, for sure.
Doing every little thing that you would expect him to do, scoring at will, getting to the basket, making it easier for his teammates around him. I mean, the development of Dylan Harper and his rookie season this early in the season, I mean, you take it for what it's worth. It's all bonus right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Like what I saw the kid. Hopefully he'll continue to project upwards as the season goes on. Another thing I like is they went into Denver and they got a big win over the Nuggets. Is there something about Denver? Whenever Denver has something on the line, like an NBA Cup spot or playoff positioning, the Spurs play spoilers to the Nuggets. Once again, that happened with a spot in the NBA Cup quarterfinals on the line. Winner takes all. Denver advances, or do the Spurs advance? No, it was the Spurs that beat the mighty Denver Nuggets in their gym in the Mile High area there. They get a win, and my goodness, I mean, not aside from the win, Devin Vassell lately has been playing great, scoring at will, being that monster that many thought he can be. We'll see if he can continue it as the season goes on. So in that Denver game, I love the fact that they beat a championship-tested team. We saw them falter against the Warriors at home twice in a row against a battle-tested, championship-tested team, and they lost. Now they go to Denver, same situation as Fresno, a veteran-laden team, and they beat them. So good win for the Spurs out in Denver. Loved it. What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, if you and I were to say right now that we both had the Spurs winning in Denver, I'd say we both would be lying because we definitely didn't have them. we didn't have them winning to Denver. Not many people gave them a chance, but it was a good performance by the Spurs. You had a very hot hand with Devin Vassell. And, the team just came together. And let's be real, they lose this game if they don't have players like Luke Cornett or even Kelly Olynyk. I mean, those two signings are massive for the Spurs, and you understand why. Spells Victor Wembanyama, you don't have to use him as much, especially against a player called Nikola Jokic. He had a triple-double until they took away a rebound, leaving him with 9 rebounds. But, you kept him pretty much in check. You did a phenomenal job guarding him. Are you going to be able to do that every time you play against Denver? More than likely not. He's going to get hits. He's going to make it difficult. Luckily, the Spurs got in there. They got a W. They were able to move on to the Emirates Cup. And you know what? You never apologize for winning, no matter how it is. Spurs went to Denver. They basically spoiled again the Nuggets for positioning somewhere or a cup appearance. Good job by the Spurs.
Yeah, absolutely. And just overall in the 4 games, just that, they're getting big wins without Castle, without Wemby out there. That's huge. You're telling me they go into Denver and beat Denver without Wemby and Castle? No way. What are you, crazy? Freaking Joker is going to just wreck them. Got close, and that third quarter got really interesting. I was like, oh my God, here comes Denver. This is the time where they just put the Spurs away. But no, the Spurs weathered the storm. And you see what they do. They go into Portland and they beat a team that Vegas had that was going to give them run. That they had that as a close game, and it wasn't. They took care of business and just, beat them over the head and got a win there. Overall, what I'm liking out of this team so far is just maturity, basketball maturity. This definitely doesn't look like the team of last year or the year before this. You're seeing the smart plays being made. Champagnie cutting to the basket for open bucket. The passes to the better shot, the poise, the veteran presence from Olynyk to Barnes, Fox coming into his own now, or being that player that nobody thought he would be in San Antonio. I just see this group of mostly young guys, and the young guys I'm looking at is like Keldon, Devin. Those guys are really maturing before our eyes. Your thoughts?
Absolutely. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Absolutely. These guys are maturing. These are the mature years that we were expecting to see from Devin and Keldon early on in their career. It doesn't matter. You know what? Hey, better late than never, right? So they are maturing. They are doing the right things. Devin is actually playing well above beyond my expectations, and I'm sure a lot of people's expectations as well. Could it be because, hey, it's a different style of coaching? Now you have Mitch Johnson and his
interesting
staff. So that could be a reason why Devin is excelling. Mitch is able to put him in better position for this team. But also keep in mind the additions of the players. You're getting a full season of De'Aaron Fox. You're getting Stephon Castle, who is injured, but also you've got Dylan Harper, who's back. You've got the additions that they've made where in past years, Jeff, you've had to rely on Devin and make him that second guy.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it doesn't really fit his style of play. So now that he doesn't have to be that guy, he seems more comfortable. He seems more relaxed out there. But again, credit Mitch Johnson. It might be his system that helps Devin become the player that we are expecting him to be. But yeah, the maturity of these guys, that's a big time bonus for the Spurs.
Yeah. And again, we're just looking at the last 4 games, everybody. So we go into stats and numbers, again, the 4-game look back at the road trip. And if I look at the first number that jumps out to me is free throw percentage. Remember how the season started? They were kind of iffy, and the free throws were like, man, they're not making their throws. In the last 4 games after the road trip, they ranked second in the NBA in free throw percentage at 87%. So that's great. That's a big jump. I like seeing that they're getting those easy points, easy buckets. The difference between a win or a loss there. You dive a little deeper as far as free throw attempts, getting aggressive, going to the rim. They ranked 7th in the last 4 games in the NBA at 27.5 free throw attempts. They're getting it done in the paint, or at least not just necessarily the paint, just drawing fouls. I like that out of the young team. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it just shows them being aggressive. And, it's kind of funny because veteran teams are going to get more of the calls. But what a lot of coaches like to do, as well as I'd like to coach when I'm coaching my teams, you have to be aggressive. You got to continue to attack the basket. Eventually, the calls are going to go your way. The refs are going to start giving you calls. You're seeing that right now. You're seeing the aggressiveness of Keldon, of Devin, Dylan and De'Aaron. They're all being aggressive. They're getting to the basket. They're you can't say they're playing reckless, but it's a good reckless play that they are, the style of play that they are playing. you got to be aggressive in this league, because if not, you're going to get toasted every single night.
Yeah.
So yeah, just continue the aggressiveness. And man, you're making all the good points here. You leave me with very few.
All right, we'll get one before we take a break. What's a good point from you?
Well, I'm gonna give you two. I can give you two really, really fast.
How about this? Give us one, and then we'll take a break, and we'll come back with your second point.
I'll tell you what, I'll give you one right now. This is one that I'm proud of on a player standpoint. It's and I can't really say the emergence, but it is the breaking out of Julian Champagnie. I mean, you're starting to see him crash the boards. I mean, he had 25 points against Denver. I mean, he's averaging right around 14 points the last 4 games. Mm-hmm. He's been in double-digit rebounds in 3 of the 4 games. I mean, he's crashing the boards. He's doing everything that you would hope that he'd done and more. So that's my first big positive for the San Antonio Spurs player-wise. My next one off the break, it's going to be a team focus point here. But yeah, shout out to Julian, man. Doing a fantastic job.
Absolutely. You want to read a one-on-one I had with Champagnie regarding his role and how he wants everybody to understand he's not just a one-dimensional player, a 3-point threat. Go check it out right now. It's mkensfi.com/Spurs. When we get back, we're going to continue the good vibes before we get into the bad vibes over the last 4 games of your San Antonio Spurs. They just finished the road trip. They went 2-2. We're going to see what we like and what we didn't like coming up next right here on Locked On Spurs. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. The holiday season is one of the best times for sports, bowl games, big basketball matchups, playoff pushes. It's all happening at once. And while we're making choices every day, one of the most fun places to make the right call is Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the easiest way to get in on the daily fantasy. Just pick more or less on at least 2 player projections, lock in your lineup, and you're in the game. It's simple, fast, available in 45 states, including California, Texas, Florida, and Georgia. Prize Picks has added an extra layer of excitement to the holiday sports schedule. Creating a lineup takes less than a minute, and the app makes the whole process smooth and intuitive. You can choose from a huge range of unique stats, fantasy scores, field goals, attempted, free throws made, turnovers, whatever fits your strategy. Deposits and withdrawals are quick and easy, which keeps everything flowing. And the new Stacks feature lets you choose a player up to 3 times in one lineup, like more on a QB's passing yards, touchdowns, and rushing yards. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 bet. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. During the break, Rudy was just like salivating. He's like, when can I get to my second point, Jeff? When I have to wait for this entire break? Well, the break's over. So Rudy's going to be up next. Once again, welcome back to Locked On Spurs. Right on the Locked On NBA Network, joined by Rudy Campos of Box Score Studio. More on that later. We're talking about the last 4 games, the road trip, where the Spurs went 2-2. We're focusing on the good right now. There is some bad. We'll get to that in a bit. All right. So, Rudy, your second point you want to bring up.
So on a team standpoint, this is the good thing for me. And some people may say, man, it might be a little bad in some cases, but it's not. Trust me. So I'm looking at the first quarter and the third quarter. The 2 biggest spots for San Antonio in the past that have always been very detrimental to this team. In 3 out of the first 4 games, they've gotten off to early leads, and they've actually led the opponent in those first quarters. The third quarter, it's same thing. 3 out of 4 games, they came out of the third quarter. They just commanded that third quarter here. Mm-hmm. That's what I wanted to see. I think the last time I was on Locked On Spurs, we talked about the third quarter, how I want to see them come out strong. They've been starting the first quarter very, very strong. They've been coming out of the game, out of the box, just dominating. Right. Come out of the locker room doing the exact same thing. That is a very big positive, because a young team like this and a very inexperienced team like this, if they can continue to win those 2 focal points on those 2 quarters, it's going to be really, really big good news for the San Antonio Spurs. Love the first and third quarters. That's going to be a positive for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're continuing with the good stuff that we saw, the 2-2 split on the road. What I like also too is in the 2 wins, they shot 37% from 3, which is really good for their standards. 37% 3-point shooting in their wins. They're knocking down shots. Champagnie's one of them. Barnes is another one. Vassell was another one. Keldon, that game versus Minnesota, was knocking down threes. Just overall, their 3-point shooting looks better if they're winning, and more on that later. Other thing too is in their wins, in the 2 wins on the road, Rudy, brace yourself. averaged 9 turnovers in the 2 wins.
Yeah.
Just 9 turnovers. So it's showing us that there is a spark. There is there where they can play smart basketball, keep the turnovers to a minimum, and the results are there. 2 wins in the last 4. You're looking at blocks. Remember, this is without Wemby. 5.5 blocks in the 2 wins. Overall, they were humming when they were getting it done. Rudy, we're going to have to cross into the bad in a bit, but what else did you like? What else did you like out of these last 4 games?
Honestly, I like the aggressiveness, just flat out, just aggressiveness. These guys are playing. You're missing probably your 2 best players or 2 of your best players, obviously, Wemby and Castle. You would expect the Spurs to maybe be like, oh, you know what? Hey, the possibilities of them struggling is there, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, come on, man. They're playing, stupendous defensive position. It's hard to imagine a team without their main guy, their main pillar, having this kind of success. It just feels like when he gets back, is he going to be, and again, I don't want to get anybody mad, but is this going to, be like, okay, are we going to see Julian come down a little bit, Devin come down a little bit, maybe De'Aaron come down a little bit? We hope not. We hope bringing Wemby back is just going to continue the flow of everything. But, I mean, the aggressiveness, Jeff, it's just the aggressiveness, the great play by Kelly Olynyk, by, Luke Cornett filling in for him, Harrison Barnes doing the little things that he still continues to do. Everybody knows their role, and that's the big, big positive for the Spurs right now is everybody's accepted their role. They know the position, and it's just probably going to get better when these 2 guys come back.
Yeah, absolutely. Other things that we locked out with the wins in the last 4 games, that is. Steals, double-figure steals, about 11 in the 2 wins. You look at the plus-minus, beating teams by an average of 8. So really good. Again, signs of maturity and scoring the ball. 127 points in wins in the road game. I mean, they're getting contributions from everybody. It's not just, Vassell or Keldon. I mean, Champagnie is another name. Barnes is another name. Cornett's another name. Harper's another. They're getting contributions as well. And then defensively, they're getting it done too. 16 offensive rebounds in the 2 wins. That's 16 second chance opportunities right there, just off boards alone. And out rebounding teams 30 rebounds, defensive rebounds, for a grand total average of 46 rebounds per game in the wins there. All right, Rudy, we got to shift gears and see what didn't we like, because the Spurs did go 2-2. So
crazy, right?
It's weird. Despite all this good numbers we showed y'all, the numbers do show what happens when things don't go right for the Spurs. And right off the bat, I want to circle back to the 3-point shooting. Let me remind you, again, I have it right here. 37% shooting in wins. All right. Keep that in mind. All right. So we look at the losses. Another old expression, Rudy. You live by the 3, die by the 3. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Do you want to know? All right, I do. I want to know. You see, this is more ammo to those people who think like the Spurs team lacks shooters. I don't think they lack shooters. But that 3-point percentage drops down to 26% in the 2 losses. Rudy, is it simple as that? Is it just really that's a big issue here? I mean, obviously defending the 3. We saw what happened in Phoenix. We saw what happened in Minnesota in the second half. So Minnesota just turned into a bunch of Steph Currys. But for their own 26% shooting from 3 line in the losses, your thoughts?
I'm going to be flat out honest with you. I don't find that as a very bad negative, shooting 26 or 20%
okay,
from 3-point range. Yes, you can be a better 3-point shooting team, but where that percentage is down, you just hit the nail on the head on one of the reasons why I have a negative side is the defense of the 3-point shot. I mean, you just saw in Minnesota recently, Dante DiVincenzo became Craig Hodges. Let's throw a Craig Hodges reference out there, knocking down 3-pointers in that 4th quarter. So, yeah, I get it. Shooters are going to shoot. The Spurs are going to continue to shoot from 3-point range. Shooting 26, 27%, I'm okay with it. I mean, it's not like past years where they maybe were shooting, 18, 19% in some games, just jacking them up and living and dying by it. So I'm okay with it. I think what it is that it's just, you don't need more shooters. You just got to keep shooting is all it is. You're not going to be a perfect, sharpshooter every single game. So I'm okay with it. Even though that is a negative part on this, I'm okay with that percentage right now.
Well, you're probably not going to be okay with this because in the 2 losses in the 4-game roadie, about 15 turnovers a game.
Oh yeah, no.
That's huge. That's a big one, yeah. And the one game that irked me the most was that Minnesota game to close out the 4 game, because they came out looking like they hadn't lost a beat after beating Denver. I mean, Devin Vassell was on fire. The team was just giving it to Minnesota. But one thing that was interesting, I kept on looking at the score during that first half, and it was still close. It felt like the Spurs were beating Minnesota handily, but they weren't. Minnesota was hovering around like 6 points, 8 points at most. I think the worst, you got slightly over double-digit figures, but Minnesota kept on clawing back. So what kept going through my mind is, okay, I want to see how this team deals with the Minnesota that anybody could see it coming, that they're going to come out strong in the second half, and boy, did they. So that was like the tale of 2 halves there, and basically sums up the Spurs road trip. They look good for 2 games, a half, then they look bad in the second half versus Minnesota, the other 2 games. It felt like that game summed up the road trip. One thing I did not like, though, is just they started to play, and especially particularly that Minnesota game, one-on-one basketball. That bothered me. They went from players cutting and moving to Devin Vassell just trying to get his guy off the break there, and then everybody's just standing around. Is that a sign? Because as much as we say they've shown maturity, are they still maybe not there yet when it comes to maturity levels? Maybe they're getting there, but you still think there's still some immaturity with this team on the court.
You can definitely see it. I mean, you go from team ball to individual ball, and you can definitely see, and it does affect them, especially in that fourth quarter. Against Minnesota, everybody wants to be the hero. And, as hot as a hot hand, as Sean Elliott was saying on the podcast, feed the hot hand. Even Jacob Toby was saying, feed the hot hand. I get it. Devin's been extremely, extremely hot. He finished with 22 points in Minnesota. So his gameplay has just been off the charts. But at the same time, you've got to understand your limits and know your limits. One-on-one basketball is definitely not going to win you a whole lot of games. Ask the Clippers. I mean, they're struggling big time right now. So if they get away from that, it comes back to, okay, do you have that leadership, and not only leadership, but the veteran leadership, but De'Aaron Fox, Cornette, Harrison Barnes, to pull these guys aside and say, look, we've done it this whole way, this whole game. It's been working. Let's not stray away from that. If he goes all the way to Mitch Johnson, I mean, something's got to give somewhere. I understand where you're coming from on the one-on-one ball. I did see a lot of it, and that was kind of the demise at the end of that Minnesota game. Yeah. Learning curve, I mean, again, it's only, 19 games into the season. We figured 20-25 games, we'll get a good read. So far, so good.
Yeah, so far, so good.
Let's just kind of take this as a, okay, another learning curve type thing, another fourth quarter learning curve.
Well, I would say, it was a second half learning curve for the Spurs versus Minnesota.
They did have him in the third, though. I mean, they did for him in the third.
The offense started to sputter, though. That's when you started.
It did.
That's when you saw the signs of, okay, this is going bad. This is going to start going bad, trending the wrong way. Also, too, let's look at some of the defensive numbers in the losses here. I got them right here for you guys. So just as much as we talked about the high number of blocks and offensive rebounds and steals and the wins, look at the losses. 7 steals, supposed to 11 in the wins. Offensive rebound went down about 2-ish, about to 10 offensive rebounds per game. Look at the plus minus. In the losses, there were a minus 11. So to me, you're losing about an average of double figures. But I mean, is it weird that I'm okay with that? Because they're not getting the break speed off them. They're kind of still in it, though.
Oh, God. I'm going to say it's okay. I mean, it's not so much to push the panic button. I think it's okay. I think everything's fine. I wouldn't really think too much into it. The Minnesota loss, I'll be honest. The 4 of them out of the 4 games, 2 being losses, the Minnesota loss was the one that stung the most, because they had Minnesota the whole way. And I get it. They screwed up in that fourth quarter. They were outscored 36-19 in that fourth quarter.
Yeah, they got smoked in that third. Yeah.
This was either, like you mentioned, it was just one-on-one ball. They kind of got out of the way that they were playing, or could it be fatigue? I mean, a 4-game road streak.
It is true. Yeah.
I mean, a 4-game road trip. You kind of coming to the end here in that fourth quarter. You might be thinking, hey, we're getting ready to go home. We kind of got Minnesota
running game.
They're playing good. Let's, maybe take your foot off the pedal. I really can't even answer other than the fact that, you know what, fans out there, I wouldn't really put too much into it. But the Minnesota game really hurt me watching it because I'm like, man, you could have finished them off in that fourth quarter early, but you didn't.
In the last 4 games, now we're lumping in both wins and losses. The Spurs were actually 20th, near the bottom in the NBA in field goal percentage at 45% in the last 4 games. So keep that in mind, everybody. I mean, it's respectable, I mean, it's not
3-point
it's not
horrible. It affects it.
Yeah, it affects you, but just as much there was good, and there was the bad. And I look back at the last 4 games, I'm like, it's hard to say like I'm mad at you Spurs because I mean, you go to Denver, you beat Denver with Joker, with the depleted team, and you get the W. You handle business versus the Blazers. You take care of them, wipe them off the floor. In Minnesota, I give you half of a game because you took care of business in the first half, but you fell apart in the second half. Yeah. But let me ask you something before let's take a break. We'll take a break. Let's continue this chat. How did the Spurs look in the last 4 games? Let's do that and more right here on Locked On Spurs from Mr. Rudy Campos of Box Score Studio. We'll be right back. Let's talk about FanDuel. NFL Sunday moves fast. One big play and suddenly everything feels different. And that's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds, every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is the best way when the game starts to shift. A receiver gets hot, defense tightens, and momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment. Live spreads, money lines adjust instantly. Player props update as guys heat up. You can bet the next touchdown scorer, drive results, totals, and more. It keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, every possibility. So if you want to be in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. All right, we'll try to get a fan comment in, but I like where this conversation is going, everybody. We are back. We're here on Locked On Spurs, joined by Rudy Campos of Box Score Studio. More of that in just a few minutes. We're talking about the last 4 games of the Spurs. They went 2-2. It's kind of right down the middle. There was a hefty amount of good and a little hefty amount of bad. And I have to say this, Rudy. I look back, I go 2-2. You did okay, Spurs. I thought they were going to go maybe like 1-3. I thought I gave them the Portland game. I thought, oh man, they can come back 1-3. All right, but to go 2-2, I'm okay with that. What pushes me over on the side of saying not going to chastise them is because of what they did in Denver. But can I ask you something? What is it about Phoenix? Is Phoenix doing something to the Spurs? Because that first meeting, they beat the bleep out of them. In the second meeting, they took care of the Phoenix. Definitely took care of them in the second half. I mean, they left no questions for the Spurs. Is it just Phoenix's athleticism? What is it about the Suns that give the Spurs team problems, at least through 2 games versus Phoenix?
I'm going to age myself here because you and I were relatively young guys. But back in the day when the Spurs would travel to Phoenix, I never watched the game because I knew it was a loss. They were playing Kevin Johnson and Tom Chambers and all these guys. They never would win in Phoenix. But honestly, I don't know, man. I mean,
I don't get it either. Phoenix just gets
Devin Booker's going to get his. We're not going to lie there. But Dylan Brooks, man, I mean, 25 points.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really get that from Dylan Brooks. It's something about that Phoenix, that city of Phoenix, that Arizona heat, desert, whatever. I don't know. I was there for vacation, and I didn't have a great time in Phoenix. So maybe it's just something about the community, the city. I have no idea what it is. But honestly, 2-2, Jeff, that's what I had them on the road trip. I had them 2-2, but I had them losing to Denver and Minnesota. I had them beating Phoenix and Portland. So I'm okay with that split. As far as Phoenix goes, it's, you know what? It's one of those things where you just chalk it up as I don't know, and they have the Spurs number. Let it be, man. Just let it be.
Hey, look, no knock on Phoenix. They're a pretty good team this year. So
Surprisingly, I will throw it out.
I'm surprised they're that good.
Locked on Suns. I'm sorry, but yeah, surprisingly, the Suns are a little better than we expected.
But it's a great segue to close out. Sorry, everybody. We'll try to get the Locked On Spurs fan comments tomorrow, hopefully. But to summarize everything, I think the Minnesota game pretty much summed up the road trip. There was some good the first half, some bad second half. We saw that. You applaud them for going to Denver and getting the win. You applaud them to go into Portland and getting the win over a team that many thought that was going to beat the Spurs. Mm-hmm. They really showed like the firing also from Fox, Vassell. I mean, just overall, you saw the emergence, like I said, I mentioned of Vassell and Fox looking like Fox, and Harper slowly coming back from injury and looking like he hasn't missed a beat. Harrison Barnes, you ain't saying that Keldon Johnson, that Minnesota loss. I mean, he's definitely has come a long way, and now just a lethal threat off that bench. He's got to be up there. I mean, he's a great discussion for future Locked On Spurs, but he's got to be up there, at least in rumblings of Sixth Man of the Year, because what he's doing is just amazing coming off the bench for the Spurs. But then the bad is you get curb stomped again by Phoenix in the second half. You let go of a game that you should have won versus Minnesota. So, look, I'm going to give them a C. What do you think?
I think a C is fair. C plus is fair. I'm going to give them a B minus. I think they've done really well. They've been in every game with the exception of the fourth quarter in Minnesota. They've pretty much been in every game. So I think you see the maturity, you see the growth without Wemby and without Castle. So I give them a B minus for the road trip. One thing I do look at that we didn't circle real quick here, my biggest negative is the fall from grace of Jeremy Sochan. Now, again, I don't buy into the preseason or off-season workouts. I don't buy into all that. He can make 50 in a row, whatever. It doesn't bother me. But the expectation of him coming in, because his name does get thrown around a whole lot on trade wins. And, the comment that I know I've made on a lot of shows is, where does he fit on the team? Yeah. It doesn't seem like he has a true fit on this team. So is it concerning? Yeah, because he is getting 12 minutes a game here, 14 minutes a game here, couple points here, maybe a few rebounds here. He's not playing to what I guess fans are expecting. And I think that's a big concern right now, because then it is pretty much give his minutes up to guys like Carter Bryant. Maybe goes from 14 minutes to maybe 18, 19 minutes.
Don't start that discussion.
I'm just saying, we said when Carter Bryant was drafted, it's a similar role to what Jeremy was drafted in. So we're starting to see Carter get a little bit more minutes in there. And you're seeing kind of Jeremy's minutes decline a little. So that's a good Locked On Spurs for you. But yeah, for me, a negative part is that Jeremy Sochan position. Where's that going to be on this? He didn't really get a whole lot on this road trip.
Yeah, as of this recording, at this point of the Spurs season, I don't know if he'll be a Spur next season at the rate he's going.
There's a reason why they didn't pick up his contract or his extension.
And there's a reason why Carter Bryant's getting some of those minutes in recent games too.
You see more enthusiasm out of Carter Bryant. Minnesota, he was on his teammates a few times. Like, you've got to talk. Even at one point you saw talk, telling his teammates you've got to talk. And you don't see that same enthusiasm as out of Jeremy as you used to when he was a rookie.
Yeah. I'm not totally jumping off the Sochan boat right now. I'm not. I want to see a full team and how he fits in that rotation. Maybe it's just a rotation thing for him right now. Maybe just because of the matchups they're playing with a depleted team, that maybe they can't go to him. Mitch, that is. I want to see that. But it's been a rough season for Jeremy Sochan. And
do you think Mitch trusts Jeremy?
I think he.
That's a good question to ask Mitch. If I had my hand, I would definitely ask Mitch that question.
Yeah, I know you would. Everybody in the room would get all quiet at that point, waiting for his answer. But nevertheless, look, Spurs go 2-2. good for this. Good job, Spurs, and bad job, Spurs. Right down the middle. We'll see how they go, because they're going to come back for one game on Tuesday. And guess what? They're back on the road, Rudy, for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
2 weeks, and they got some big boys ahead of them. The Cavs, the Lakers. That's that cup game. We'll see. Especially we're definitely going to talk about the cup game later on this week. But that's something interesting. I really want to see, but not just because it's a cup game. You'll hear we're going to talk about that later on this episode. Oh, later on this week on Locked On Spurs. Hey, what did y'all think about the Spurs going 2-2? Acceptable? Not acceptable? Did that Minnesota loss sting the most? Let us know. You can let me know on X at Jeff G Spurs, or let Rudy know on X at Box Score Studio. So what is Box Score Studio? What's all that about?
yeah, it's funny. I made the announcement the last show, and everybody's like, "Yeah, hey, good." Box Score Studio, basically what it is it's a rebranded Sweep the League. We had Sweep the League for almost 10 years, kind of ran its course, kind of already hit the ceiling. So we decided, you know what, let's go a whole different route. Let's actually do, instead of a network, we're doing the studio. We've got some on location spots we're going to be doing shows at. We've got some documentaries that we're actually working on from past NBA players. I mean, there's a whole lot more from Box Score Studio that you're going to get than what you did from Sweep the League. Same cast, same crew, adding a couple more people for Box Score Studio that we had on Sweep the League. You just go to Box Score Studio TV on YouTube, search that, hit the subscribe button. Also catch me on Sundays on the Sports Answer, part of Answer Now TV. So very busy schedule. Hopefully we'll get Jeff on both Box Score and back on the Sports Answer. So yeah, it's a very busy schedule everywhere.
That was a recent guest for yours, right?
Yep.
We did it online. So yeah, go check. Yeah, it's a great show, everybody. Go check it out once again. Box Score Studio again. Congratulations, Lee. Well deserved. Everybody else, we thank y'all for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. Free and available where we get podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Ken, Spy Plus app, YouTube. You know what to do. What is that? Subscribe, become an everydayer. And if you are an everydayer, keep on being that everydayer that you are. We love it if you come here for all things silver and black. We'll be back tomorrow as the Spurs season continues. Again, they got another rough road trip. One game back home, and then they leave. That's the method. You know what? I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to be like John Morant decides to be John Morant that game, right? It would happen that way, wouldn't it, Rudy? It would happen that game. But we'll definitely look at that Grizzlies game and so much more right here on Locked On Spurs in the coming days. Don't forget, subscribe to Locked On NBA. It's on YouTube. Just go on YouTube, search Locked On NBA, hit subscribe, and you're good to go, and you catch up on all things around the league. So for Mr. Rudy Campos, I am Jeff Garcia. What are we going to do? We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.